Before I start filming my next video, I just got my orchids redone for Valentine's. I felt very feminine today, so I thought I'm going to do pretty pink. I took my cinnamon and made an X in it to give it a kiss, and a little heart from the dollar store. The flowers are from Ken's Flowers, and they do an extremely amazing job. Every time I go there, I always walk out being so happy with my flowers, and these last for like about a month and a half. First up, I get all my ingredients and I put them together in a grouping like that, so it's easy to put together. I will do a close-up on all the ingredients, and cooking should be easy. Keep it simple and all the flavors kick in together. Actually, one pot, you can marinate all of the spices in one dish. Today I'm going to do them separately, but I have done it when I'm in a rush and throw it all in a pot and leave it to marinate. The longer you marinate it, the better it tastes. The flavors go into the chicken. First up, here's my chicken. I've got the chicken breast skinless. I bought 6 of them, and I'm going to dice them into pieces. I'm using an onion, lemon, and orange, and these are all the spices that I collect up with thyme. That's for my coleslaw. I'm going to put a little bit of mango in it to give it a different take. And there's the rice. Black-eyed peas with coconut milk, cilantro, ginger, and chili. Dog's meal is all prepped for when I need to cook it. It's her chicken breast. I put a little bit of rice and peas for her. Go figure, so picky. My children are just as bad. Anyway, going on to my rice. I'm making a little extra because my children are always hungry. They both go to the gym and they come back and they eat like 2 dinners, and they're in great shape. So here's 3 cups of rice. I'm going to soak it in water and try and get all that milkiness out of it. And then I'm going to open a can of creamed coconut milk. This is quite thick, so I'm going to mix it in my water. And I have a can of black-eyed peas, which I'm going to drain and keep ready for the rice. And this is all going to go in my rice cooker. I've sliced my onion really thin, and I've sliced the garlic really thin. It doesn't have to be exactly the same, but try and get it consistent because you want the food to look pretty when you serve it. First up, I take my grater and I'm going to get the rind off my lime and my orange. I'm going to put it straight into this bowl. I don't want to waste. Normally you just use the orange, but I like the lemon flavor too, so I'm going to put that in. I'm going to do that. Just make sure you don't get too much of that white part into it, just the green. Very lightly stroke it. I like this particular grater because it's a little wider. I like to taste the rind in my foods. There we go. That's 1/2. And I use the zest to go into my carburetor because it's good. It cuts the grease. So there's the juice of the lime. And I'm going to do the same with the orange. I like this juicer because you put the lime in here, and you can put the oranges in here because they're bigger, and if they fit really well and it's easy to come out. As you can see, it's quite a lot. First up, 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, ground pepper. Just sprinkle it on there. I am going to use some cinnamon, about a tablespoon, 1/2 tablespoon of allspice, 2 teaspoons of the dry English mustard, this brown sugar. It's a replacement sugar. It's really good. It has 0 calories and it tastes exactly like sugar. So 2 tablespoons of it. About 2 tablespoons of soya sauce. 1, 2 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar, any kind. I just happen to like this one. That's 1, 2. Tabasco sauce. I use anywhere from 1 to 4 teaspoons, so it depends on how hot you like it. I like it hot, so I'm going to do 4 teaspoons. I know it looks like a lot, but it's not. I forgot. I have about 12 sprigs of thyme. I'm just going to take it off and just break it up into this marinade to let it marinate. And then I'll put a piece of saran wrap over this and let it sit while I prep all my other food. All together, just giving it a good mix up. I didn't put any salt in there yet because I've used soya sauce, and soya sauce tends to have a lot of salt, but I will add a little bit while I'm cooking. You don't need to add it now. So this is all ready to go, and I'm going to put it aside and let it marinate. The longer it marinates into the chicken, the better. And I like having the chicken at room temperature so that way it cooks really well. I have diced up 1 red chili pepper, really tiny. I'm going to put it in this bowl. And as I said, I diced up my ginger, 1 tablespoon in that little bowl, and keep it aside. This is for the rice. For my rice cooker, I'm going to take my rice cooker container. I'm going to empty my 3 cups of soaked rice in here. I've drained it, so it's just plain rice. My hands are clean, so just throw that in. I have half a cup of the coconut cream. It's the condensed one, and I'm going to make it 1 cup. So I'm just adding what's left over in the tin to make it 1 cup. I'm going to put that in. This is the coconut milk. And I normally put to 3 cups of rice, I use 3 cups of water, so that's 1 cup. I'm just going to use 3 in total. Throw in my soaked black-eyed peas, which I didn't soak them actually, mine were from a can. I'm going to take my black-eyed peas that I've drained. You can use fresh ones. I've used a cup, and I'm going to put that into this mixture of rice. I'm going to give it a little stir, just a delicate little stir. I'm using a silicone spoon because I don't want to scratch my pan. I'm going to add in my ginger and the chopped chili in there. And about a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. And salt to taste, about 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And it's all ready to go. Give it another little stir to incorporate everything. And then you put it in your rice cooker and it cooks up on its own. When it's ready, I will sprinkle a bit of cilantro on top. That's how easy it is. My peas and rice. Into my rice cooker, close, and hit start. First up, I have about 2 cups of shredded cabbage, red and white, and carrots. It comes already prepared like this, so you can buy it or you can make it yourself. I'm going to add a little bit of mango to my coleslaw. So I've got a greenish mango, so I'm going to cut them into little strips and put it in there. Pieces like that. And now with the knife, I'll just peel the green part off. And then I can dice the other things into little strips. About a cup full of little sticks of mango. I've cut them just thin like that. And I throw them into that little bowl of the coleslaw. And I've got 3 sprigs of green onion, and I'm just cutting them into thin little circles like that. And 1 chopped red chili, which I'm going to put in there. You can take the seeds out so that it's not as hot, but I like it hot. So this is all ready. That looks so pretty. Now I'm going to make the salad dressing. I'm going to keep it very, very simple. I've taken about a 1/4 cup of tarragon vinegar. I got a good quality white vinegar and I stuck fresh tarragon in there because I couldn't find it. So, and it works just good. I'm going to use a little bit of my healthy organic coconut nectar. So about a tablespoon, because I want something sweet to complement the chili in there. I said tablespoon earlier, but I meant to say teaspoon. And I have a little bit of this white balsamic glaze that I'm going to add to make it just a little bit more interesting, the flavor. So about 1 tablespoon of balsamic vinegar. You don't have to add this, but I have it, so I'm adding it. And then I'm going to take half a lemon and squeeze it in there. 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, even less than a 1/4 teaspoon. Not a lot. And salt to taste. About a pinch of salt to taste. Give it a mix up and add to the dressing, or add the dressing to the salad. Stir it up and put aside to marinate, because this tastes better when it's marinated. So that it's not too sour, I added just a little bit more of my coconut sugar to it, and now I'm just going to pour it on top. It's all blended in. The oil would taste good with that. and in which case I would use a good quality olive oil. I can add a little drop of it because I don't want to use a lot. And then just give it another little mix in. Put it aside in the fridge till you're ready to eat. Okay, so now I have my jerk chicken all prepped, ready to go. It's marinated for quite a while. I'm heating up 2 tablespoons to 2.5 tablespoons of good quality olive oil that I normally use. And I have my garlic all ready to go. I'm just waiting for it to get a little hot. And so I'm going to caramelize my garlic, and I'm going to watch it because I don't want it to go brown. I'm just getting used to this videotaping, so I hope you guys can see what I'm doing. It's bubbling up, and the garlic is starting to get kind of translucent, and it's starting to get a very light golden brown. So I'm going to add 3/4 of my cup of the sliced onion. The reason being is I like to keep a little back to add at the end for a little crunchiness to the dish. So I'm just holding back that much. Onions are caramelized, and I'm going to add my chicken to it now. The chicken out of the sauce because I want to save the sauce for later. I'm going to just cook the chicken as in. I've turned it down because I don't want it to burn. I'm saving that sauce for when I want to make the sauce. I want to fry the chicken up now. I moved it onto the bigger burner because this one really crisps up the chicken nicely, caramelizes it, I should say. And you really have to watch it because you don't want it to burn. Okay, you can see that it's starting to caramelize and it's getting to be a beautiful golden brown. I'm going to watch it just a little bit more, and I'm going to add my sauce. I'm just going to give it like a little bit, maybe a minute more. I want it to really caramelize, and I'm going to deglaze the pan with the juice that it was marinating in, which is the rest of the juice. About 1/4 teaspoon, because as I earlier added the soya sauce, and it's got like a lot of salt in it. So you can always add more, but you can't take it out. Down really low. I'm going to cover it and let it cook for maybe 10 minutes. So I've added everything in there. I'm going to add my crunchy onions on top and give it a little stir, the remainder for 10 minutes. I'm just going to cover it. My rice just went off. Oops, I just accidentally started again. It's really full to the top. I'm just going to take the spoon and just give it a fluff up, and I'm going to add a sprinkle of cilantro on top, and it's already just turned off my chicken. It's all ready to go. I'll show you the finished product when I prep it. My chicken is cooked. There's a lot of gravy in there and I don't want it so watery, so I'm going to turn it on high on the lower stove. Bring it to a boil to make it evaporate a bit and thicken up. I'm doing a close-up. As I always serve dessert, I'm going to serve them the tortuga Caribbean rum cake, which we picked up in the Bahamas, and this one is a chocolate flavored one. Next up, I am going to make a coconut yogurt cake, because I just love baking and it's Sunday night, so I always do something special for my kids because they're always hungry. First up, I take my baking pan and I prep it with my pan, which has flour in it so it doesn't stick when you bake. I turn my oven on, I have my baking rack ready, I've got my blender ready. You will need spelt flour, 1 3/4 cups, which I have here on my wax paper. You will need 1 cup of yogurt, and I've used full fat yogurt, the Creamer by Olympic, and it's the organic one. 2 tablespoons of fresh squeezed lemon juice, 1 cup of the dried coconut, 3 teaspoons of baking powder, 3/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil, 2 eggs, 1/2 cup of honey. I've done a little less because I don't like it very sweet. And did I miss anything here? And the sugar. I need 3/4 cup sugar, half a cup of sugar, but I've done a little less than half a cup. Actually, you're supposed to use the caster sugar, which is like the really fine one, but I don't like it. I find it very sweet. So I'm using this substitute, which I got from Loblaws, and I will link it in the list below, description box. And that's the shredded coconut that I used. It's an unsweetened one, so this will all come together. First up, I will mix my baking powder with my spelt flour. I have put my spelt and baking soda in here, and I'm just going to give it a little mix up on that piece of wax paper. First up, I'm going to take my eggs and put it into this glass bowl. I've got my blender ready, and I'm going to whip it up a bit. And once they are combined, I'm going to add my sugar to it. Whoops. I'm then going to add my olive oil to that mixture. And I'm going to add my honey. I'm going to add a little bit of my spelt flour, which I'll pick. I'm also going to throw a little pinch of salt in there. Forgot to do that. When I say a pinch, it's less than a 1/4 teaspoon. I've just added the rest of it, and I'm incorporating it. And I'm going to put my lemon juice in now too. It's all incorporated now, and I'm going to pour it into my baking dish and into the oven at 350 for about 40 minutes. I'm going to test it and see how long it needs from there. Off to the oven it goes. I'm going to put it in the center of the rack. Timer's on for 45 minutes, and I'm going to check it once it's done. My baking rack is all ready for it to cool on when it's done.